Chicago's advantage is not that nobody drives here. Let's kill that myth right away. People drive here. I drive here. Traffic is real. Parking can be brutal. And some trips are absolutely easier by car. But here's the difference. In most of the car-dependent of America, your life basically collapses without a car. In Chicago, the real advantage is that driving can be a choice, not a requirement. And that distinction changes your money, your time, and your stress, your housing search, and honestly, the way your day feels. So today, we are not doing a neighborhood ranking. We're not pretending Chicago is Amsterdam, and we're not doing some anti-car rant. We're talking about why Chicago still has one of the strongest urban advantages in America, the ability to live car light, car optional, or at least less trapped by the car than most of the country. Hello, I'm Anant Deoras, a 14-year Chicago realtor with a love of urbanism and a focus on relocation and selling. And reason I care about this topic is because a lot of people moving to the wonderful city of Chicago ask the wrong car question. They ask, do I need a car in Chicago? But the better question is, how much of a life do I want control by a car? Because those are two different things. In a car-dependent place, the car is not just transportation. It becomes your grocery plan, your school plan, your social plan, your commute plan, your emergency plan, your weekend plan, and sometimes your entire monthly budget. In Chicago, depending on where you live, where you work, and what your weekly routine looks like, you may still own a car, but you can often reduce the number of trips, reduce the number of cars in the households, or simply not feel like every single errand has to become a 25-minute drive across a parking lot. That's the untold advantage. It's not perfection, it's optionality. Now let's define the problem clearly, because this is where people start arguing in bad faith. Car dependency does not mean cars exist. Car dependency means the built environment gives you no realistic alternative. It means grocery store is technically 1 mile away, but there's no safe sidewalk, no pleasant walk, no useful bus, no bus lane, but bike lane. And the route you're crossing on a highway just to buy milk, it means every restaurant is surrounded by a parking lot. It means your gym, your dentist, your coffee shop, your friend's house, your daycare, your park, and your job are all separated into different zones that assume you're driving. And once that happens, driving stops being freedom, and it starts becoming the price of admission. That's the part people don't talk about enough. The car may feel like freedom. When you choose it, it feels very different from when the environment forces it. Chicago is different because the city still has a lot of pre-car bones. You've got a street grid that actually connects. You've got neighborhood commercial corridors. You've got CTA trains, CTA buses, Metro, Divvy, sidewalks, bike routes, alleys, corner stores, grocery stores, parks, local businesses built into the daily rhythm of the city. Isn't every part of Chicago equally walkable? Absolutely not. In every CTA trip smooth? No. Is biking comfortable everywhere? Not even close. But compared to much of America, Chicago gives you a foundation built on less car-dependent life. That's why the citywide scores matter, but only as a starting point. Chicago's walk score is 77, transit score is 65, seems a little low. Bike score is 72, which basically tells you that the city has real urban bones, still, but that scores are not a guarantee. Your actual life depends on your commute, your housing choice, your budget, your tolerance for winter, and how close you are to the things that you actually use every week. And this is exactly why I always tell people, do not just search for a home, search for a lifestyle pattern. If you're thinking about moving to Chicago, selling your current place, or trying to figure out whether the city actually fits how you want to live, listen, schedule a real estate consult with me. The link is in the description, or you can go up. There's a QR code on the screen, and we can talk about your commute, housing budget, whether you're trying to live car light, whether you still need parking, and what the trade-offs actually make sense. Because the wrong Chicago setup can still make you feel car dependent, but the right setup can completely change how your week feels. Now let's talk about the part that hits your wallet. Car dependency is expensive because it stacks costs: gas, insurance, parking, repairs, tickets, your unlucky tolls if you're constantly going between city and suburbs, and of course the car payment if you have one. And even if your car is paid off, it's not free. I know, because I have a car. As I've mentioned, I pay for parking, insurance, gas, city sticker, plates, maintenance, and all the little stuff that never seems like a big deal until you add it all up over a year. So the Chicago advantage is not always sell your car tomorrow. For a lot of people, the better win is needing one less car in the household, driving 3 days a week instead of 7, taking the train to work instead of sitting in traffic, or being able to walk to the grocery store without making a whole production. That is where the lifestyle math starts to change. The real lifestyle difference is small, but it compounds in a car-dependent place. Leaving the house often feels like launching a mission. Keys, garage traffic, parking, errands, more traffic, and then back home. In an urban environment, you can leave the house and let the day unfold a little bit. You can walk for coffee. You can grab something on the way back from the train. You can meet a friend without calculating parking strategy. You can take a bus one way and ride share back. You can bike when the weather is good and drive when it makes sense. That flexibility is hard to explain until you've lived it. It's not just about transportation. It's about friction. The less friction your city creates, the more daily life opens up. Now, the truth mode. Chicago's not a magic urbanist paradise. CTA walkability has been a real issue. Safety concerns are real for some riders. Some bus routes are great. Some are frustrating. Some bike lanes feel protected. Some feel like paint next to speeding traffic. Winter changes everything. And yes, if you live in the wrong location for your job, your family, or your daily routine, you can absolutely still feel car dependent in Chicago. That's why I don't want this video to sound like some fantasy where everyone just skips through the city with a tote bag and a venture card. The honest version is better. Chicago is a major American city with major American problems, but it also has a level of transportation choice that most places in this country simply do not offer. This matters for housing because the home is not just the unit. It's the lifestyle around the unit. A condo with a beautiful kitchen, but no useful transit, no walkable errands, and expensive parking may technically be in Chicago, but it may not give you the Chicago lifestyle you thought you were buying. On the flip side, a smaller place in a better connected part of the city may give you more usable life outside of your front door. That does not mean everyone should choose the smaller place. It means you need to understand that trade-off. Square footage matters. Parking matters. Assessments matter. But so does the ability to walk to dinner, to take the train to work, bike to the lake, or avoid turning every basic errand into a drive. This is where Chicago real estate and Chicago urbanism overlap. So here's the takeaway. Chicago's untold advantage over car-dependent America is not that Chicago eliminated the car. It didn't. The advantage is that Chicago gives more people more ways to live. You can drive when it makes sense. You can take transit when it works. You can walk when the city gives you something worth walking to. You can bike when the route feels safe. You can use a car less without pretending cars don't exist. And in a country where so much daily life has been built around mandatory driving, that is a huge advantage. The goal is not to hate cars. The goal is to stop being trapped by them. That's the real promise of Chicago urbanism, folks. Not perfection, not fantasy, options. I'm AD, as always, your Chicago urbanism realtor, and I'm going to see you on the next video.